Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
The More Money Show with Steve Moore on the Red Apple Podcast Network.
We're back, folks. This is the More Money Show. Hope you're having a wonderful weekend. My next guest is one of the top economists in the world, not just in the United States. And that, of course, is Arthur B. Laffer, who is famous for many, many things. He served honorably for Ronald Reagan. He served for Donald Trump and is an expert on how to grow economies. And so, Arthur, thanks so much for coming on. My first question for you is, you and I think, agree that 2026 is going to be a blockbuster year for the economy. It seems like just everything is going well, but what's your take?
I think so, yeah. I think all the current information, all the current data are very much on our side, although I wouldn't base my forecast on them. But the inflation rate's coming down pretty sharply. Yes. The GDP growth is up. And if you think about the immigration issue, employment's doing really, really well. So there's nothing out there. The stock market's nice. All of the stuff is good. But I think because of policies, the tax policies of the BBB coming into effect now, and with new Fed chairman's coming in, Steve, we've got some controls from the BBB on government spending. We've got some great stuff in deregulation, especially energy and healthcare. And then, of course, Trump's use of tariffs has been exceptionally adroit in getting great deals with. Wait a minute!
I thought you were a free market, free trade guy.
I am a free trade guy, but I'm not against negotiations with using trade. And every deal he's ultimately done has been much freer trade than it was before. And he just uses the tools to negotiate great deals, including peace, which I love peace. Peace through strength is my
peace
favorite.
And prosperity. It's not that complicated. I couldn't agree more. I think some of these trade deals, and I'm with you. I believe in free trade, and the freedom to trade is critical, or else we'd all be living in caves. But he really has gone to China and Japan and Korea and Canada and Europe and said, "Hey, lower your tariffs. We need freer trade," and I think we're going to get that.
I think that's true, Steve. I think you're completely right. And I'm quite optimistic. Now, I don't know what that means in terms of GDP growth, but we've had some pretty good growth numbers, and the fourth quarter is projected to be pretty good too. So I'm pretty optimistic.
Yeah. Now, there is a big issue that I wanted to ask you about, which is housing prices. You have a bunch of kids, and you have a bunch of. How many grandkids do you have? I can't even keep count.
I have 14 grandkids so far. I'm going to have a couple more, and I've got 4 great grandkids.
Oh my God! So
and 6 kids,
those grandchildren of yours. Those grandchildren of yours are getting to the age where they may be looking to buy a house, and yet housing is expensive. I have 2 kids both in their early 30s, about the time people would normally start looking at buying a house. They can't afford it. So what do you think? What's the solution?
You can't afford not to have a house. I mean, if you want to live in low-cost housing areas like West Virginia and southern Kentucky and central Detroit, no. High housing prices is a sign of prosperity and good jobs and high incomes.
I agree with that.
What you need to do is bite the bullet and buy a house when you're young and take the risk. And half the capital stock in America is in housing. Yes. And if you have housing prices fall, you're going to have a collapse of all-time records. I mean, we need affordability now is a different story. The more houses that are built, the more affordable they become. So, but you don't want housing prices falling. You really don't.
No, if you think falling housing prices are a good thing, go to Detroit where you can get a house for $5,000.
That's exactly right, or West Virginia or Kentucky.
Yeah. So I'm going to take issue with one thing that Trump did this last week that I think is wrong-headed, and I agree with 90% of what Trump does, but he is going to make it illegal for this just came across the transom, that he wants to make it illegal for institutional investors to buy homes. What do you think of that?
I have no idea. I didn't hear about that, so I don't know about it. I haven't looked at it, Steve. Let me look at it. I don't know what he's talking about. I mean, what's an institutional investor? I can't own a second home. I can't imagine he's doing that. Or any of a lot of the rental properties are huge. I mean, huge, providing homes for people who otherwise couldn't afford them. I mean, So I'd have to look at it carefully, Steve, but I don't want to weigh in on it until I do.
So on the tax issue, you had so much to do with crafting the original Trump tax bill with Larry Kudlow and myself.
You and I and Larry did
amazing.
it, guys.
And isn't it cool that from the time, at least I first met him back in early 2016 to today, that is the law of the land is the lower tax rates. So tell us about why, okay. So let's say I'm not very well educated in economics, and all I hear in the media is that was just a big tax cut for the rich. What do you say?
Well, it's not. I mean, it does. There's nothing wrong with tax cuts for the rich. But what we know, Steve, from history, and I have every single tax return from 1913 to the present, every time we've cut tax rates on the top 1% of income earners, three things have happened.
Right.
The economy has outperformed. Tax revenues from the rich have gone up, and the poor have found every time we've cut taxes, the economy has outperformed. Revenues have gone up from the rich, and the poor have found jobs. Raising taxes on the rich is a guaranteed way of hurting the poor, getting less revenue, and destroying the economy.
Now, that seems very counterintuitive.
Why?
Well, because people say...
Why would it seem counterintuitive to tell people that rich people work to make income, they employ other people? If you cut tax rates on them, they'll invest more, they'll produce more, and the economy will outperform. And when you raise taxes on the rich, they just hire lawyers, accountants, deferred income specialists, favor grabbers, and lobbyists. And they don't pay the taxes. And that's not what you want.
Well, there's a good example in our audience here in New York City. New York is losing people. Our Vote With Your Feet website shows 3 million people on net have left New York State, most of whom have left New York City. So people are mobile. They do move to escape high taxes.
They sure do. And I did. I moved from Southern California to here, to Tennessee, purely and simply because of taxes. No other reason. I love Southern California, but I moved here purely and simply to avoid the taxes in California. And I'm really glad I did.
Even though you gave up the beautiful sunny skies and beautiful home in the mountains?
No, I get to go back all the time, Steve. Right. And I don't have to pay the taxes.
So, Arthur,
I can go back there and spend 6 months there and play around and do all that and still not have to pay the tax.
So, we have a new mayor who talks about the collective warmth, the warm embrace of collectivism, and he doesn't seem to understand a lot of the stuff that you talk about. That seems pretty commonsensible to me. If you had, some time to sit down with the new mayor of New York City, what would you tell him?
Well, I'd love to, and I'd like to do it in private so that there's no press, there's no way of making a show there. I don't want any virtue signaling and I just go through the numbers with him and just ask him. I mean, what do you like? I mean, we know that the 9 states with no earned income tax, they outperform all the other states by massive amounts. Right. We know that the 11 states that have introduced an income tax since 1960 have just collapsed before our very eyes. We know all of the comparisons like Kentucky and Tennessee and New Hampshire and Vermont and Florida, New York, California, Texas. All of these examples have shown the absolute power of making your state competitive. And what is it that he doesn't like about those results? And, I'd be interested to hear what he says. Yeah, I don't want to confront him and yell at him. That
of course,
doesn't solve anything.
Yeah, he needs to be educated. I don't know if he's even heard about these issues.
Let's hear what he says.
Yeah, and so you may have read in our hotline this week that the mayor of Dallas, who's a African American Republican, has said, "Hey, you don't want to pay those high taxes in New York City. We've got Wall Street South, and you can move here." And 100,000 financial jobs have moved to Dallas.
Yes, they have.
And what is that income tax in Dallas again?
I think it's 0.
Right. So there's a big difference between 13% and 0.
Yeah, and it's even much more than that. It's the regulations, it's restrictions, it's requirements, it's spending welfare. It's just the whole kit and caboodle. I mean, what we talk about when we talk about tax rates, Steve, is really those are emblematic of the mental set of the government to try to really screw producers and income earners as much as they possibly can. And it's just very sad because no one is made better off when someone else is made worse off.
So there's a great bestseller out there, Arthur Laffer. I don't know if you've read it yet. It's called The Trump Economic Miracle.
I've never heard of it.
For those who don't get this inside joke, Arthur Laffer and I are the authors of that book. And
yes,
we've probably written about 4 books together, but that one is, and we called it, by the way. We said he would produce a prosperity, and so far, so good.
It's been perfect. And we also do the one, which I don't know if your audience knows, but Rich States, Poor States. We've done that for years and years.
Right. Thank you, Arthur. That's the great Arthur B. Laffer. His latest book is Taxes Have Consequences, and he's also the co-author of a book with yours truly called The Trump Economic Miracle, and we'll be right back. This is The More Money Show.
Thanks for listening to More Money with Steve Moore. You can hear More Money with Steve Moore Saturday afternoons at 1. If you like the podcast, share it with your friends and listen anytime at WABCRadio.com and download the WABC Radio app. Hit that subscribe button on all major podcast platforms. Plus, follow WABC on social on Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, and X. See you next time for a new episode so you never have to wonder.
What the heck is going on here?
Every week, the Payne family cuts straight to the real financial story.
The one question, Bob, everyone's asking is, are we in an artificial intelligence bubble? You've been through boom and bust. What do you think?
No hype, no myths. Just what actually matters to your money.
Does feel very similar to what we experienced in the 90s. Where are we, though? Are we in 1995, 1997, 1999?
Listen to the Pain Points of Wealth on the Red Apple Podcast Network.